Patrick, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not at all and 10 extremely, how excited are you?
Don't talk to me while I'm driving.
And on a scale, well, answer the question.
11.
Hi, I'm Carol, and this is Patrick. And this is De Person, our home. And over the years, we've taken from this to this, so that we can do this. Welcome, especially if you're new here. We were both really excited. We've talked about this and planned this for so long, and now we're finally starting it. We've got 2 parts to our trip, and this year we're doing the UK part, and then next year we'll be over in Europe. So this year it will be leaving Fareham, where we've been for so long, and making our way all the way up the Thames, all the way up to Oxford. There was no calm before the storm, but we got it all organised. We managed to get everything packed away, all the clothes stowed away. It was a trip to the supermarket to grab some provisions, and those were packed away, and then it was off to bed for an early night. We woke to the calm, and what a beautiful morning to set off, saying goodbye to all the places that we've come to know so well these years, and into the Solent, heading towards Brighton. We knew it was going to be a bit bumpy and rough once we got out into the Solent. Started out all right, but then the weather really came in, and as we approached Brighton, it got really rough, really rainy, very choppy, and the wind just picked up. The wind was forecast for quite a few days going forward, so we decided to stay put in Brighton. We settled into the marina and then became tourists for a few days, catching the bus, walking around the old parts of Brighton, just exploring old buildings, having some delicious food. It wasn't all that cold, it was just really windy and would have been unpleasant. We did some work on the boat, including finally getting rid of this old ladder that we've been dragging around with us. It was just getting underfoot, and we have this beautiful classic wooden folding ladder which we attached to the back of the boat anyway, so there was no need for that, so into the bin. And then day 3, as expected, we woke up to beautiful, calm, sunny weather, and so we said goodbye to Brighton and set off for the next part, heading to Eastbourne. This leg was a little easier than the one to Brighton. It was a little bumpy as the water or the chop rebounded off the cliffs. We made 4 hours into Eastbourne, and our first of many, I'm sure, experiences of going into a lock. It was a really early start. The next morning we had to get through that lock by 4 o'clock, but we made it and into the English Channel, watching a beautiful sunrise and the most perfect conditions to travel in. We were heading towards Dover with an overnight in Dover, but we were just having such a wonderful time until, in true boating fashion, it's all going well until it's not going well, and Patrick felt there was something wrong with the steering. It was just a little too tight, so he asked me to take the helm, and he needed to go into the back to check the steering gear, which meant dismantling the aft cupboards, but they were designed in such a way for that to be quite simple. Unfortunately, this was all happening while we were actually in the crossing section of the English Channel from Dover to Calais, so I took the helm and kept a sharp eye out for ships, and Patrick checked the steering gear in the back as well as the chain in the front. He didn't find anything caught up in that, so the only explanation we had was that, like any old lady, All she needed was some grease. So greased up everything and we carried on. No problem at all going forward with that. So with that drama finished, we just continued on, and with such perfect conditions and such flat, calm water, we were making great headway, and also decided that there was no point in going into Dover for an overnight, so we just continued on until we got to Ramsgate. It was another early, before 4 o'clock in the morning rise, but I was looking forward to getting out and getting going again. We had had such a lovely day yesterday, so I was looking forward to being out there on flat, calm water, the sun rising this time behind us as we made our way around the top and into the Thames estuary, getting even closer to coming up through the Thames, up through the city of London. So we set off, and I couldn't have been any more wrong. It was the complete opposite to what we had experienced yesterday. The wind forecast wasn't what we expected, and it was a rough couple of hours slamming into the tide. Can't say we enjoyed it, but if you're going to shake the boat down on the first part of the journey, this was really going to do it. So it was about 4 hours of pretty heavy going, water over the deck, over the front deck. We finally managed to get round the bulge, I suppose, and we got into the Thames estuary, which was a lot calmer, heading towards Queenborough, where we were staying overnight. It wasn't too bad. Once we got into the estuary, it got a little calmer. We were able to gather ourselves, and then we almost had a future look into what was happening as we came up and travelled alongside the ship Danube highway. And if anything was going to keep us going, that was it. That was when we were heading eventually down the Danube, but that's in quite some time to come. So we settled into Queenborough Harbour for the night, paid our fees, and then, much to our delight, 2 small ships came up and tied up behind us alongside each other. So these are the original Dunkirk little ships, and so we got to spend some time chatting to them about their experiences. And they had just come down through the city of London, and they were making their way out down the River Thames estuary. So they gave us some advice about going up through the city and where to stop and where not to stop. But it was another early morning, and we set off to head up towards London. The Thames at this point got really busy with some very big ships, so Patrick had to keep an eye out using binoculars to make sure that we weren't going to get caught up in anything. And as we headed towards the Thames barrier, it meant a quick radio in to say who we were and we had permission to cross. We were given permission immediately, and we headed through, and then heading towards the centre of London. What an amazing experience to be able to have done that. And before we knew it, we were heading towards Teddington and our first lock, and where we were planning to stay for at least 1 or 2 days, tie up, just reflect on what had happened, what we've been through, and then to plan the next days going forward. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the first part of our UK leg. In the next part, we'll be going from Teddington, heading our way up to Oxford, and we would love to share the next part of our journey with you. Thanks for watching.